Stratton's outstanding performance. Ben Stratton was huge in defense as the Hawks got away with a narrow victory over the Bombers. 60 points, 15 wins, 4 losses, 135.7%. The Tigers overcame a dog Geelong on Friday night and now look good, things to hang on to top spot on the ladder at the end of the home and away season. They'll beat Gold Coast next week at Metricon Stadium and the Western Bulldogs at the MCG in the final round, and would also be expected to defeat Essendon in round 22, particularly given the Bombers' finals hopes are all but gone after their loss to Hawthorn on Saturday. Callum Twomey the run homer 21, Gold Coast at Metricon Stadium R22, Essendon at MCG R23, Western Bulldogs at MCG 2. West Coast 56 points, 14 wins, 5 losses, 124.1%. Port Adelaide and Collingwood's narrow losses presented the Eagles with a golden opportunity to tighten their grip on second spot, and they weren't troubled by Fremantle in a 7th straight Western Derby victory on Sunday. Things get tougher from here, though. West Coast will likely need 2 more wins to secure 2 home finals and won't want to leave it until the final day of the season in Brisbane. The Eagles are in the box seat, but it's not locked in yet, especially with some stars on the sidelines. Travis King the run homer 21, Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval R22, Melbourne at Optus Stadium R23, Brisbane at Gabba 3. Greater Western Sydney 50 points, 12 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw, 120.8%. A top 4 spot is guaranteed if the wins keep coming, but that's no easy task. The Giants are flying after 4 victories on the bounce, but with Brett Deladio, left calf, and Dawson Simpson, left ankle, to miss a chunk of football, and Toby Green and Sam Taylor no certainty to play next week with hamstring worries, 3 clashes against teams fighting for final spots will be tough. Adelaide has momentum after a gripping showdown victory, so Leon Cameron will be desperate to have Dylan Shiel, ankle, Ryan Griffin, hamstring, Tim Taranto, knee, and Sam Reid, knee, return. Denny Navaratnam the run homer 21, Adelaide at UNSW Canberra Oval R22, Sydney at Spotless Stadium R23, Melbourne at MCG 4. Melbourne 48 points, 12 wins, 7 losses, 132.8%. The Demons, now in the top 4, have a tough run at home, starting with the reinvigorated Swans at the MCG next Sunday in a match that before this round you would have penciled in as a win. Then, they're off to Perth to face West Coast at a venue they're yet to play at. They round out the season with a big final round clash against the Giants, who also celebrated a big win on Sunday. It's a nasty run to September, and they'll have to do it without prime ball winner Jack Viney, whose foot injury is now expected to keep him out until the finals. Jennifer Phelan the run homer 21, Sydney at MCG R22, West Coast at Optus Stadium R23, Greater Western Sydney at MCG 5. Hawthorn 48 points, 12 wins, 7 losses, 121.4%. If Alistair Clarkson believes the win over Essendon gave the Hawks a gauge next week against Geelong will provide a true assessment. Win and top 4 hopes remain alive, lose and they're back in the pack scrapping for the top 8. Potential returns for James Sicily and Grant Birkle before the end of the home and away season would give them a major boost against the Swans in round 23. Heading to the SCG, the Hawks could be fighting for their season or the double chance. Mitch Cleary the run homer 21, Geelong at MCG R22, St Kilda at Etihad Stadium R23, Sydney at SCG Reid, 5 talking points, Hawks v Don 6. Collingwood 48 points, 12 wins, 7 losses, 117.1%. A massive 3 weeks coming up for the Pies that will show just how legitimate their premiership chances are. With Brisbane and Port Adelaide up next, followed by a trip to Perth to take on Freo in round 23, Collingwood will be hoping to consolidate a spot in the top 4. After a thriller against flag favourites Richmond and a series of impressive wins, the Black and White Army might just be dreaming of some success in September if the likes of Brodie Grundy and co. can keep the momentum going. Tim Martin The Run Homer 21, Brisbane at Etihad Stadium R22, Port Adelaide at MCG R23, Fremantle at Optus Stadium 7. Port Adelaide 48 points, 12 wins, 6 losses, 114.9%. The Power face a difficult run home as they aim to rise from the top 8 logjam and punch their finals ticket. The Power host Premiership contender West Coast, who ended the Power's season at Adelaide Oval last year, before taking on injury-ravaged Collingwood at the MCG and finishing at home on a Friday night against Essendon, who could still be in the finals hunt. That just shows how costly the Power's controversial 3-point loss to Adelaide in Showdown 45 could be. The Power will hope to regain key defender Dougal Howard from a hand injury for their clash with the Eagles. Lee Gaskin The Run Homer 21, West Coast at Adelaide Oval R22, Collingwood at MCG R23, Essendon at Adelaide Oval 8. Sydney 48 points, 12 wins, 7 losses, 109.6%. The Swans season is suddenly at a critical juncture, a fascinating development after they were 10-3 through 14 rounds. The 43-point defeat to Essendon was their 4th loss in 5 starts and cost them more than 4 percentage points. That percentage now leaves them vulnerable to be overrun by the fast-improving Bombers. It's hard to pencil in wins for John Longmire's men in any of the final 4 rounds in their current form, and it's looking increasingly likely they will have to beat great rival Hawthorn in round 23 to qualify for September. Mark McGowan The Run Homer 21, Melbourne at MCG R22, Greater Western Sydney at Spotless Stadium R23, Hawthorn at SCG 9. Geelong 44 points, 11 wins, 8 losses, 118.8%. The Cats are outside of the 8 and in danger of missing the finals for the first time since 2015. It's a huge game this Saturday as Geelong meets rival Hawthorn, with both sides fighting for a finals place. Not even a Patrick Dangerfield masterclass was enough to help the Cats beat the Tigers at their MCG Fortress on Friday night, but they do have 2 games, against Fremantle and Gold Coast at GMHBA, in which they should get some more percentage. Callum Twomey The Run Homer 21, Hawthorn at MCG R22, Fremantle at GMHBA Stadium R23, Gold Coast at GMHBA Stadium 10. North Melbourne 44 points, 11 wins, 8 losses, 110.1%. The Kangaroos might look back in a few weeks and see the escape against Brisbane as the match that saved their season. Brad Stottsmen have a favourable draw over the final 3 rounds and need to run the table to give themselves a chance of sneaking into the top 8. With Sean Higgins due back from his knee injury next week, North will start warm favourites against the Western Bulldogs. The trip to Adelaide Oval to play the Crows the following week looms as the match that could define their finals chances. Michael Whiting The Run Homer 21, Western Bulldogs at Etihad Stadium R22, Adelaide at Adelaide Oval R23, St Kilda at Etihad Stadium 11. Essendon 40 points, 10 wins, 9 losses, 102.3%. Bombers fans can start booking September holidays. 2 matches and a large chunk of percentage behind Port Adelaide and Sydney. The Bombers' hopes faded when Tom McCartan proved the Swans match winner against Collingwood. If the Bombers are to pull off the unlikeliest of miracles, they'll need to win all 3 matches, including Richmond in their own backyard, and rely on the Swans losing all 3, plus Geelong and North Melbourne falling over. Mitch Cleary The Run Homer 21, St Kilda at Etihad Stadium R22, Richmond at MCG R23, Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval 12. Adelaide 40 points, 10 wins, 9 losses, 98.6%. The Crows still have a heartbeat after their thrilling 3-point win against Port Adelaide in Showdown 45 at Adelaide Oval on Saturday. Their poor percentage means the Crows could win their remaining 3 games and still miss out on the top 8. Other results need to go their way. The Crows hope to regain veteran Richard Douglas and forward Mitch McGovern for Saturday night's huge encounter with Greater Western Sydney in Canberra. get past the Giants. The Crows then host North Melbourne and finish against Wooden Spooners Carlton at Etihad Stadium. Lee Gaskin run homer 21, Greater Western Sydney at UNSW Canberra Oval R22, North Melbourne at Adelaide Oval R23, Carlton at Etihad Stadium.